Conversations with Marc and Debbie, the mediums. Marc Stuart, the Scottish medium, and Debbie Wolf, the smallest medium. Conversations on topical subjects. On subjects other mediums would not dare talk about, but we do. For a quick reading, we can talk to spirits now. Scottish style mediumship.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
No, there's nobody watching us, so I don't know what I seriously don't know why we're bothering to do this. I mean, everybody watches the recordings.
Well, that's okay. So we can say hi if you're watching the recording. Hi.
Yeah, I know.
Good to see you. Thank you for watching.
We set and time this to the second, so everybody knows when we're starting, and nobody bothers.
And nobody watches live. No, I understand that. If you're watching live, please let us know. Type in a comment or something so we can know that we're wrong.
Or you see that link that's gone along the bottom, folks? Copy and paste that into a Chrome browser, and you can join us live. And make sure to put your wig on, Debbie, and we'll give you a reading. You've got two really highly skilled mediums here, desperate to give you a reading.
Why do I need a wig for that?
I was just talking.
You're just bugging me. Oh, you're just trying to raise my eye.
Okay, folks. So today we are talking about, does gender matter on the other side? We're still in our 3-month talk about feminism in spiritualism, although I think we are getting fairly close to getting that dead. But before we start talking about that, you know what we're going to do? That's the wrong one.
No, that's not what we're going to do. News.
It's our news and information section. Okay. Well, we were cracking jokes about Debbie's sanity earlier. Basically inspired. I have had secret cameramen following her around Highland cows. And ladies, you've seen the pictures, but now here you are. Here's the first video, the first world video of Debbie and a mini Highland cow and what she does with these cows.
Oh, I love the cows.
She wasn't joking. She does love the cows.
I did. I hugged that cow. I loved that cow. I begged to be allowed to come back and visit the cow.
Would you let Debbie near your cow? I mean, we're having jokes. My wife and I, Ying, I'll come back to Ying in a second, are in the process of buying a working home to work in because her business is opening up a new outlet in a town called Peebles, and it's going to have a spare bedroom. So at the moment, we don't have a spare bedroom where we currently live. And I'm now realizing that Debbie is actually it's already booked the bloody flight. We haven't finalized on the property. Look at the face. She's already bought the ticket to come to Scotland.
I'll be there on Tuesday.
Actually, I showed you that video deliberately. Let me show you another video. These are actually all my relations. And I showed you that specifically because that was my mother, her twin sister, and a lot of cousins. And that photo dates back to I think it was 1954. And all I've got of my family photographically are some black and white photos. Now, both of those videos were made with a new app that we're subscribing to. And this, I'm not advertising for it, and don't send me a message asking what it is.
But it's pretty neat.
I'm just telling you that in future, we're doing a lot of things in terms of video content, and we're using this new app. So we can take a photo. We can, for example, I can generate a photo that's fairly good, let's say of a ghost or a lunatic, not mentioning any names, and I can put it into this new software, and it'll, before you know it, I've got a video. It's the kind of thing that people are using to create videos, not mentioning anybody else, but Debbie and I jokingly call him the mop head. And they're producing videos like that. We now have the ability to do it as well. So everybody out there, when I get angry with you, please pray I don't have a photo of you. I'm joking. Seriously.
Yes. I'm just thinking he has way too many pictures of me. I'm in trouble.
Would I do anything nasty, Debbie? Would I seriously do anything nasty?
Yes.
I'll show you the one I did earlier of her riding the cow, but I'll leave that for another week. She hasn't seen that one yet. And I do usually show them before I play them. Okay, folks, let's get back to news. So anybody that has been following us on the Marc Stuart Medium Network, you know that we do a wide range of different types of content, not advertising them, but we've got Cars with Marc. That has actually turned into be really successful. The last 3 or 4 of those, we've had about 5 or 6 people coming for readings. We've got Conversations with Marc and Debbie. That's what you're watching just now. We've got Walks on Sunday with myself and my wife Ying. We've got the Open Circles, which we haven't posted any of them yet, but we're going to start posting those as well. And we've got an Open Circle coming up for this Sunday. So if you're in our sort of like network, just watch out for that. But they've all been, for the last 2.5 months, we've been doing it under the theme, which we mentioned earlier, of feminism and spiritualism. We're not trying to create a what's the word? God, I can never pronounce it. The matriarchy. Yeah, we're not trying to create a matriarchy. We're just reporting on the fact that 95% of spiritualist enthusiasts are female, and 69% of mediums are female. So we'll be at the end of that themed by the end of this month. And we're starting up a new theme called Celtic or Celts and Spiritualism.
And that's only so he can talk about Scotland for 6 months.
3 months there, Debbie. Learn to count.
3 months. Sorry, 3 months. 3 months.
And there is a lot to talk about. I mean, I could start talking now, except it's all theme.
And not stop for 3 months. Yes, you could.
No, I could not stop for 6 months. Actually, 6 years. But I mean, there is literally... Okay, anyway. So that is going to be starting on the 1st of August. Also starting that weekend, we have a special event to kickstart everything off, because I'll be talking about Scotland, but we'll also be showing you how we do mediumship in Scotland. We're going to be doing a reading event where it's me doing the readings, and I want to set a target of 100 readings. So we need people. Now, we're not going to get 100 people registering. I know that. We did try this previously, and we got about 20 people coming, and I only did 1 reading per person, and then they all disappeared off into the woodwork. So if we get 20 people, they each get 5 readings. If we get 1 person, that poor soul is going to get 100 readings. Near enough.
He'll be me and nobody else, and I'll be like, okay.
Okay, but that will be the first big event to kickstart off all our usual events. We're also going to be doing another event with myself and my wife. These are conversations, you know, a bit like the conversation I had with Debbie, where I never stopped talking.
Right. Except it's a monologue with my commentary.
Yeah, this was actually my wife Ying. She is part of the business, although you never see her except on the Sunday walks. It was her idea so that she can interview me. I mean, obviously she's my wife. We've been married for just short of 2 decades now. She knows me better than any, maybe except my mother, except my mother's getting too old, so she's forgetting who I am. Thank you, Spirit. Nah, I'm joking, Mum. But she knows me better than anybody else. And she made the point of she should interview me after the TikTok disaster that we told you about last week. She thought it would be a good idea so that she can interview me and just expose me to the world. So that will be starting up in the next not now, but the next 3 months. Okay, now we mentioned an idea to you previously about how we were looking for people to come and join us, and we would train them. Well, the first person has started, a very nice woman called Melly. She's doing 2 things. Let's call it a customer service role. So if you register for an event, like we advertise every week, we get huge numbers of people, and there's a lot of work goes on in the background with the IT systems and all the rest of it, and communications with people. She's taking that over. And I have been told that by Debbie that she's supposed to be working with me as a sort of semi-PA. And Debbie had a conversation with her, which basically, and I did get some feedback from Melly after it, that's essentially what they're going to do to me.
Let's just say Marc has been known to get really distracted and spend like 3-4 hours somewhere where he shouldn't, doing something he shouldn't. So I've just asked her, since she is awake in his morning time when I am not, to just kind of keep an eye. Let's make sure he's on track. Yeah.
So you can take it from that. And she's not here tonight because she's in Asia. We have had students from Asia before, although we do target the UK. But you will be meeting her if you come to any of the events. She'll be in the events, but she'll be in the background for most of the other time because of time zones. Now, we have interviewed people for just about every one of the following 4 roles that I'm going to tell you about, and every single one of them was rejected. So in case you're figuring out what are we talking about, we are very expensive for our training. We're not unaffordable, but when you compare us to other trainers, people often say, how can you charge so much? Well, not an advert, but when you come to us, you get the Scottish methodology, and I'm not going to talk about it, but once you see in an open circle, which is free, what we do and how we do it, people go like that. And we actually had one professional medium of 35 years standing who said after the event, I learned more in one open circle with you, Mark, and Devi than I have learned in the last 35 years. So we know we're good. Right. We also do business services behind it. So you have to be in the training program the full 6 months and beyond. And we've altered the pricing to enable people to do it longer, so they're not under such intense pressure. But you get your website, your marketing, your SEO, and your business training all rolled into that. So we're offering all of that for free for people that will come and work a given number of hours per week. Now, the roles that we've got, the first one is social media video manager editor. That's specifically doing short videos for TikTok. And it's not really editing the videos. There is editing in it, but AI produces most of it.
There's some editing, but AI does most of it.
Yeah. So it's basically
monitoring the AI program.
Yeah. And just running with it, and shorts for YouTube. We're looking for somebody to manage the blog. Now, again, we use AI, and I produce most of the first drafts. So we're looking for somebody to manage 3 blog entries a week. There's a lot of work goes into them. There's structured data. Don't ask me what that is. You don't need to know. But there's a lot of work that goes into it, and you'll get training and all of that. So it is actually a skill outside of mediumship that you would be learning above and beyond the mediumship. We're looking for somebody that can understand structured data and SEO. Again, this is a very technical role. We're not going to train you in it. We do need somebody that's got a technical background for that. If you understand what Java is, then you're qualified for the job role. So just basically, let's just say Java. If you know what I'm talking about with the word Java, if you can work with Java, then come and speak to us if you want to be a medium. And the last role is customer services, and that's basically somebody that can deal with the people that decide to sign up, handhold them, and all the rest of it. Right. So if you fit any of those categories, send Devi or myself an email. That's devi@markstuartmedium.com or Mark at, you know it, markstuartmedium.com. Be expected to be asked for your resume. Be expected a full job interview before we even tell you about what's involved in the role. I think that's about it. To the news. Can you think of anything else, Debbie?
I think that's the news. That was a lot of it, actually. So
yeah. Okay. So let's get back to tonight's topic. Now,
let's talk.
We're talking about, does gender matter on the other side? My answer is yes, it does.
Absolutely not.
Oh, there you are. We've got a disagreement from the very
beginning. There we go again. It always works.
Right, Debbie, I've done all the talking for the last how many minutes?
Okay. So if gender is consistent on the other side from what you were in life, you can't explain people changing sexes and reincarnation. You can't explain the fact that one of my guys has more female and then male in the last 5 years. How do you explain that?
Very simple. I go back to what I said. I didn't say if people couldn't change gender. What I said was, does gender matter on the other side?
Does it matter? Oh, okay. Well, I don't think so. Why would it matter?
Okay, because you have babies born on the other side. Therefore, I'm just going to biologically assume that you must have a male and a female.
I don't think so. I think
Why?
our souls can have babies without definitely without gender, without actual sex and impregnation. Um, if your souls don't need that physical binary thing.
So why do they have children then?
What?
Why do they have children?
Well, even two people that are not heterosexual can desire children.
Yeah, but we are a biological species. We're male and female.
Right.
When we
Well,
die,
no, we're not male and female. We're male and female and a bunch of stuff in between.
okay, let me rephrase that. I don't know the exact percentages, so don't shoot me down. We are all biologically male or biologically female, except for a very, very, and I have had tenants that qualify for this as a landlord, except for a very, 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 very point to so many zeros that I don't know where the zeros stop and the one or two
That's
start.
bull. That's bull, Mark. There's a lot more intersex people than you know of.
Now, stop. We're not talking about people that are in, I'm talking, let's be absolutely clear about this. And I'm not wanting to start a gender war, or I'm not in any way against anybody that changes their gender or any way that identifies as male or female. I'm talking about biological male.
I'm speaking biologically too.
Right.
Intersex can be a lot of different chromosomes. You can have XX, XXY, X, all the different combinations of those, combinations of hormones, combinations of biological stuff going on in your body where you can be both sexes or somewhere on that spectrum.
Okay, let me redefine what I'm saying then.
Okay.
I'm talking about somebody that has the sexual apparatus of a male and a female in the same body. I'm not talking about somebody that you could define as a man in a woman's body or a woman in a man's body.
But you're leaving out all the intersex people who are both male and female.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about your body that is fundamentally male.
Okay, your body has nothing to do with your soul.
Yes, it does.
No, it does not.
Absolutely disagree.
Absolutely not.
Okay, then how is it as a medium, every single message I have given, now these are people that have only been on the other side for a definable time period within the lifetime of the speaker that I'm speaking to.
Right.
These are not people that have been on the other side for, let's say, 2 centuries.
Right.
Every single message that I have given, and yes, I have given messages from people that are mixed sex and all the rest of it. I mean, as a medium, it's sometimes quite difficult because you say to somebody, I've got a man coming forward, and you've given all the characteristics of a man, and then they look at you in the face and they say, but it was a woman. So it does happen. And I have given messages of multiple people like that. But if it is somebody that is multiple mixed up sex, or I'm trying to use my words very carefully.
You're messing it up. So you've already pissed off a bunch of people, Mark.
Okay. Apologies. I am not trying
You're talking about gender, not sex.
Yeah, gender. So it is all, if somebody has confusing, if somebody is giving me confusing signals about the gender, there's a reason for it. It's because it may be somebody that's gay. I mean, again, I know that's not mixed up gender, but it could be somebody that's gay. So sometimes they'll come to me and I'll get an absolute feminine and I'll go to the woman, but he's male. And then I'll say to them, hold on, can you understand the person being gay? Oh, God, yes. So when you get mixed signals like that, there's always a reason for it so that the medium can give the evidence to the sitter that the sitter can understand. But in the vast majority of cases, and I'm talking 95 to 99%, it's the same gender that you get in the message that you give to the sitter.
Of course, because that's how they're going to present themselves so they are recognized.
But that continues on the other side.
Exactly. That's how they're going to present themselves so they're recognized.
No. That's how they continue to live on the other side. So if you are gay, let's just take that as a very simplistic example, and you want relationships with, like, let's say you're a gay man, you've passed over to the other side, you are going to continue to have, you're either going to wait for your loved one, or if for whatever reason you continue to have gay. If your loved one comes over and he's also gay, the two of you are going to have the same sexual relationship that you had on the earthly plane. So your sexuality stays the same.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Because, okay. What about my guide who has morphed from male to female over the last 5 years?
Then he fits into your definition or classification of somebody that had different.
No, he did not. He was not intersex. Trust me, he was not intersex. I knew him in life.
Okay. Then you've experienced something that I have never experienced, and I've experienced a lot more than you have, and I have never experienced that ever.
Yeah. I have. I don't see spirits as having gender. I see them as representing themselves as having gender, so they will be recognized to their loved ones.
But my understanding of, okay, let's go back a step. If you are someone who, let's say, is lame, let's just say you've only got one leg.
Okay.
You get run over, you die, you appear on the other side. When you appear on the other side, you're surrounded by loved ones, but to you, when you arrive, you're not floating around with wings. You don't suddenly open your eyes and, oh, I've got wings, and take off and fly.
No.
If you had to, I know in this day and age, you don't have to use crutches if you don't have a leg. You've got the equipment, and again, I'm sorry,
prosthetics, yes.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. But whatever you physically had here on the other side, you won't have the pain. The pain will be gone. But when you open up your eyes, you are the same person with the same physical limitations. Now, your loved ones in the first 6 months teach you how to escape that, how to mentally conquer it, how to realize that you're energy, that you're a spiritual being.
Right.
So that's why that's the very specific reason why somebody comes to you who's just lost somebody 3 weeks ago and they're absolutely desperate. Oh, please put me in touch with my loved one.
But it's almost impossible. Yeah.
Yeah. I will immediately say to them, come back and see me in 5.5 months. Any medium that says to you, oh, yeah, fine, sit down and I'll connect with them is fraudulent. You can connect. Now, let me correct that. I have had multiple instances where I have connected with the loved one when I didn't know it was somebody that had just passed.
Yes.
But it was the hardest reading I ever, when I've done it, and I'm talking about multiple readings, they were the hardest readings. And I'm sitting there thinking, this is terrible.
Yes.
I'm not giving enough credible evidence. It feels so generic. And that's why.
You gave me a reading from my my ex-husband about 6 weeks after he died. Maybe 2 months, but somewhere it was very early. And I was just amazed you brought anything forward.
Yeah. And that's from somebody that understands how difficult it is to do that.
Yeah.
But you very, very quickly realize that it's too hard. What's wrong with me? I will actually ask the person, look, do you recognize this spirit? Yes. How long has it been since they passed away? And 9 times out of 10, they will say to you, oh, I just buried it. I mean, I'm being sarcastic here, so excuse the sense of humor. Oh, I was at his funeral last week.
Yeah.
And you immediately know, oh God, right, okay. And you immediately go back and split and just say to them, right, that's why it's been so hard for me to get the evidence that I've got. So that's the first thing. The second thing is when the person does come through, let's say 4, 5, 6, 7 months, you get another message. Sorry, you get another spirit coming forward first. Now, the classic symptom of this is you're on a platform in a stage or a church, and somebody comes forward, a spirit. You go to somebody, you give them the evidence, and they sit there like this. And you know that they don't want the message from them. They're nodding. Oh, yeah, I can take that. Yeah, I can take that. But they put that. You can tell that the first thing they do is they put their arms up like that. Like you can tell by the look in the face and the body language. And then, if you're lucky, the chairperson like if it's a church and they know everybody, the chairperson might sort of tap you or tell you afterwards and say, yeah, that was Ginny, and she's been coming every week trying to speak to her brother who passed away 5 months ago. And every medium keeps bringing a spirit forward and they keep rejecting it. Now, there's an expression that you shouldn't force a reading on people. No. And I have been caught out for this multiple times by other mediums when I've done it. And I just keep going and I say, look, I can't get this person to go away. Can you understand who this is? Yeah, I understand who it is. Is there something about the person that you don't want to accept the message from them? No. Can I keep working? Oh, okay. And 9 times out of 10, when you get them to say it's okay, what happens is you get the second spirit coming forward. So it might be their grandfather that's there that they don't want to hear from because the grandfather died when they were 3. But you've given enough evidence that they can take the grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
And then the husband, it's his first message, and he starts coming forward. And once you make the connection, once the bridge is met, then the evidence comes flying forward. Now, what most people don't realize is it's as hard for the spirit to give the evidence to the medium.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Everybody thinks the medium should just be sitting there and it should just be typing out in their head a clear message. And sometimes it is like that. I mean, quite often when you're on, by the time I get to my 30th or 40th message, they're just flying like that. And I'm just opening my mouth and clairvoyantly saying, and I've got your brother and he only had one leg and I'm making this up based on what I've said.
Obviously, yes.
And he was gay and his partner isn't in the church, but you know who his partner is, don't you? Yes. Well, here's a message for his partner. I have given multiple messages like that. But by the time you've done that, the energy level is so high that it gets easier. Yeah. And that energy level gets used by the spirit on the other side. But on the first message, even the spirit has to bang away to get the evidence to you in a way that you as the medium can understand so that you can translate it into the way the sitter can understand. And that's, coming back to selling point, that's what most of our training's about, to teach people how to understand all the evidence they get. So getting back to what I was talking about.
Right.
I have never given a message to anybody that's alive where the sexuality may be confusing, but the sexuality is still there. Of whatever that person
That's because they represent themselves that way. I don't think souls have gender.
Okay. Well, here's another variation for you, which actually ties in to what you were talking about.
Okay.
Everybody thinks of spirits as one person. They're not.
Oh, no.
A spirit can be, like, for example, I'm not going to say who my guide is, but Debbie, you know who my guide is.
Right.
We've talked about this before, and I have had other mediums give me evidence about my guide. I knew who my guide was before the other mediums. I've had 2 mediums give me separate messages, and one of them just about fell over backwards when she realized who my guide was. He's nobody in the West knows who he is. You would have to go to China to understand who this is, and even then, not many a lot of Chinese people do know who he is. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked.
Very sidetracked, and we're almost out of time, so wrap it up.
But I've even forgotten what I was trying to talk about. God, it's too late.
Oh no, my ADHD is catching. Oh no.
Sorry. There's not a chance on earth that I am the only person that this medium is working with. Sorry, this spirit is working with.
Right.
He is so far up the evolutionary scale of humanity that he's so far up the evolutionary scale on the other side. And that's what one of the mediums fell over backwards when she realized. She didn't know who he was, but she knew what he was.
Yeah.
He could probably be in umpteen places. Now, I had another medium, Scottish medium, so again, I trust her, and I did a lot of work. She didn't train me, but she did a lot of work with me, or rather, I did a lot of work to take her life story and digitize it for her. Unfortunately, she's not with us anymore. This is going back to my early days, but she was one of the most respected mediums in Scotland, and she gave me a lot of, I suppose it was training. She gave me a lot of, like, this happens on the other side, Mark, when I was still in my very early days. And she basically said that just about every spirit on the other side can be in 8 places as 8 people at once, and it's still the same spirit. And that can even be and we're not talking about Mr. Joe Bloggs that just died last week. We're talking about people like the medium, like the spirit.
I completely believe that.
They can be reincarnated. Like, for example, the Dalai Lama has just announced that he's going to be recreated. Now, I'm not a great believer. I'm not a great believer in reincarnation, but I do accept that spirit can choose to come back. But on the assumption that the Dalai Lama is a reincarnation of the existing Well, let's not get into that, but let's just assume it is.
That's what the premise is. Yes.
Yeah, that means that the spirit of the Dalai Lama exists on the earthly plane and the spiritual plane at the same time, because
Yeah.
spirit is so far evolved to be able to do that. That is probably the best example of what we're talking about.
Yes, I believe that 100%.
Okay, so on that happy note, people, nobody's come forward for a reading.
So, well, I guess we'll say good night.
Yeah. Open Circle this weekend. Let me just run through my usual.
Bye, everyone. Open Circle Sunday at 3 Eastern, 2 Central, etc., etc.
So, if you want to find out how to come to the Open Circle, go to markstuartmedium.com/network. You'll find all the links there. You'll find details on just about everything that we do. Okay. Newsletter will be coming out this week. So if you want to get a copy of that, that's another way of finding out for the next few weeks, markstuartmedium.com/newsletter. Please, wherever you see this, follow us, subscribe. It helps boost, the usual, send a thank you, leave a comment. But remember, on Facebook, we disappear after 30 days.
Yes.
So this will only be up for 30 days. YouTube, you can follow it. I mean, we've got these going
forever. We'll keep it up forever. And you can see all the other ones too, all the past ones.
That's the link for the Open Circle workshop. So if you want to come along to that, there you go again. Follow us on YouTube, Scottish Medium. And please, please, please join us on Telegram. It's a community. There's actually about 16 people on there now.
Yes.
It's very small. Excuse me, compared to the people on our database. But please join the group. Shout at us. Tell us you don't like this. Tell us you want to change. That's really the quickest way to communicate with us.
Yes, it absolutely is, because we check that very often.
And believe it or not, we covered this previously. One of my TikTok videos went viral. It's now at over 140,000.
Right.
We'd like our other videos to go viral as well. So please follow us on TikTok.
Follow us on TikTok. Please do.
TikTok, Marc Stuart Medium. That's about it. So thank you, everybody. I think that's about it for tonight.
That's it.
Let's end the stream. I'm
Good
going
night.
to bed. Good night.